Hello everyone, my name is James Teague, and today I'll be giving a presentation from my class IS 8330. This presentation will go over sabotage in the information security world, and the subtopic that I'll be focusing on is website and social media hacking. So for this presentation, I'll start with a background and overview of what sabotage is, then I'll move on to the motivations for sabotage, why hackers might want to sabotage a company or their website. And then the next topic I'll cover is website defacement, which is a result of website or social media hacking. And then we'll cover some examples of website defacement that have happened to some pretty big name companies. And then lastly, we'll finish up with ways to prevent your website or social media accounts from being hacked. All right, so as I said, the first thing we'll cover is an explanation and overview of sabotage and what it is. Sure, most everyone's familiar with the term, probably heard it in movies or just growing up. It's a pretty common term. It's basically when someone deliberately attempts to harm something of someone else's to, affect them either financially or reputation wise. It can be a multitude of things. And that definition carries over pretty well to the information security world. But the official definition is it's the deliberate sabotage of a computer system or business. It's a vandalism to either destroy an asset or damage an organization's image, and often it'll be an assault on an organization's website. So the rest of my presentation will really focus on those last 2 points, vandalism to either destroy an asset or damage an organization's image. In my case, the asset would be a company's website, and website defacement from it being hacked is what would damage the company's image. And then of course that last point often will be an assault on the organization's website. That is a fairly common form of sabotage. It's probably one of the easier and most impactful ways for a hacker to sabotage a business is going after their website. All right, moving on. On this slide, we'll look at some of the motivations for sabotage. So I'll talk about what it is hackers hope to gain in return, or why they're motivated to sabotage. First one is ransom, and this is the most common. Hackers asking for money. They're either, affecting a company's website, making them receive negative press, or maybe they're interrupting their core business functions. And the company wants this to go away as quick as possible. Hackers know this, so they ask for some sort of ransom so that they get paid and they'll leave the company alone. A lot of times they'll ask for the money to be sent to a secure account and in some sort of untraceable format. And that's the only way that they'll leave the company alone is once they get their money. Next motivation is insider threat. So this one can be particularly bad because it's someone who's inside the company already that's performing the sabotage. It may be a recently fired employee or someone who's still there that maybe doesn't like the way things are run or they got passed over for a promotion. Could be a lot of reasons why that insider wants to attack the company, but it's usually personal. They want to seek revenge or they feel wronged by the company, whatever it may be. But it can be particularly easy for them to get access because if they're on the inside already, if they're still an employee, they already have a certain level of security clearance. If they're on the outside, they may not have that security clearance anymore, but they may still be familiar with the operations and how things are run, making it, them more likely to be able to crack in than someone who's on the outside that has no knowledge of the company's internal affairs. Moving on, the next motivation is political. So this is another pretty common one. A lot of times when companies' websites are taken over and the information on them is changed, there's some sort of political agenda that's being pushed on there, and they, or change what's on there to support the hacker's own political agenda or push their side. The next motivation could be competition. So there's actually competitions and contests that are held for hackers online to see how successful they can be and how quickly they can hack into companies' websites and deface the website. And they get rewarded some sort of points or whatever it may be. Probably a lot of times just a sense of pride for them to show off their skills. And then the next one is cyber war. So this could just be if two nations are feuding with one another and they have a team of hackers trying to hack into and steal intelligence and data from the other country. And And two, I want to make a note of this: cyber war and political. The word sabotage, when it's talked about, harming something of someone else's or sabotaging something, it's typically talked about in a political or military sense in the real world, and so that also carries over into the online world because political and cyber war are big motivations for sabotage. The last motivation is angry user. So this is someone who's just on the outside, maybe using a product of the company's, or maybe they just don't like, a statement or a press release that the company made. Maybe they disagree with their morals or their political views. And that user happens to be technically savvy and they want to do something to harm the company, so they try to hack into them and sabotage the company. All right, now we are moving away from the main topic of sabotage, and we're going to focus on my subtopic, which was social media and website hacking. And so this topic we're covering right now is website defacement, which is the result usually of a company's website being attacked and having something changed on there. So the definition is an attack that changes the visual appearance of a website. Religious and government websites are often targeted. Political we saw was a big motivation of why hackers want to sabotage. And so that's why a lot of times these websites are targeted. On top of them wanting, promote their own political agenda or their narrative, these websites usually don't have the best security, so that's another reason why they're a pretty big target and pretty easy one as well. Corporation websites are also targeted a lot because they have a lot of traffic on them. We'll go over some examples in the next slide of some big companies that have been targeted. But that's another target for hackers. And then website defacement can lead to distrust in consumers. So the attack on the website may or may not be a serious one. It may not be malicious. A lot of times hackers do it just because they want to do something funny, make people laugh. And a lot of times the average person is going to laugh at this and not think too much of it. But if it's on a website where you regularly shop at or where you regularly visit, you might take a second thought on that, because you see someone come in here who's unauthorized and make changes to a website you regularly visit. It makes you wonder how vulnerable this website really is and how much of your information's on there, especially if it's a place you shop at. So you may be less willing to go to that website in the future, and it can definitely lead to distrust in customers. So if we look at these pictures on here, in the bottom left, this one was a website defacement attempt on Vogue, their website, and it was nothing malicious. As you can see, there's just dinosaurs on the bottom part of the picture wearing various hats, and that was most likely done just for people to laugh at. But Vogue's a pretty big company, so it's definitely something not to take lightly that someone was able to get in there and do that. And the next picture on the right, we see two screenshots of a website. It's actually the European Union's Spain website. The left side of the picture is the Spain Prime Minister. On the right side is Mr. Bean. So someone got on the European Union site and replaced that picture of the Spain Prime Minister with the picture of Mr. Bean. Again, probably nothing malicious, probably just joking around, but especially a big government site like that, it is kind of disheartening to see that happen so easily. Alright, so let's take a look at some examples of website defacement to some pretty big name companies out there. Top right, we can see Skype. Someone posted, "Don't use Microsoft emails, Hotmail, or Outlook. They're monitoring your accounts, selling the data to the governments." So Microsoft owns Skype. Obviously, they wouldn't post this on there. So someone went in there in an attempt to get people to distrust Microsoft. They posted it on the account. Bottom left, we have the U.S. Central Command Twitter page being hacked by a group promoting ISIS, which obviously the U.S. Central Command page wouldn't post. This could, create some fear among their followers. Hopefully, it wasn't anything too serious. And then the bottom right is Burger King's Twitter account being hacked, and the person hacking it posted, changed their image to McDonald's. They said that McDonald's bought Burger King because the Whopper flopped. Ironically, though, Burger King actually gained a bunch of followers from this, and they had a bunch of attention on them over a course of a few days. So it actually kind of worked out well for them. All right, this last slide we'll go over some ways to prevent website attacks and also kind of talk about what to do if your website has been hacked. As far as social media goes, there's only so much a company can do. If you have a Twitter page, kind of up to Twitter safeguards. So, you want to protect your username and password, but beyond that, it's really them cracking into the Twitter page or whatever social media it is. So there's only a limited number of things you can do. So this is more These ways to prevent are more from your own website being attacked. So you want to have a file monitoring system that'll constantly scan your files. It'll let you know of any changes that have been made and can notify you if one was unauthorized that was made. You want to put your website behind a firewall. That'll definitely protect it from hackers. Limit the plugins. The more plugins, the more vulnerable it is, the more open holes there are to go through and attack. You want to also limit access with your own staff, like who has access to it. So anyone who's changing the website, you want to limit those number of people, make sure it's only people who need, have the access that they need to know. You can implement two-factor authentication, that's 2FA, so people logging in to make changes have to go through two factors and make sure it's the right person. Also update that access if someone gets fired or if someone moves on to a different position. Make sure you restrict their access back to the level it needs to be at and they don't have more than they should. You want to conduct tests, you can either do this with your own company or hire a third-party company to simulate an attack on your website, figure out where those vulnerabilities are, and then you can patch them up, make sure you're protected. You want to keep your website backed up, so back it up once a week, once a day, whatever it is, depending on your company, and make sure that backup's stored offsite. So if something's with your regular website's damaged, you'll have that backup copy. And also update all the software you use and everything else with your website. There could have been a patch that came out to protect a potential vulnerability, and if you haven't updated in a few weeks, you're leaving yourself open to that vulnerability. So that's some things you want to do to prevent attacks from your website. If your website has been attacked, there's only so much you can do. You of course want to resolve the situation as quick as possible. Reach out to an outside security company if you have to, and then right away reassure the public that it wasn't you that posted this on your website or whatever it may be, so that their faith will be restored in you. Unfortunately, if you are like a website that keeps vulnerable information or whatnot and you're hacked, it probably isn't a very good look. So the only thing you can do going forward is just prevent further attacks, and over time that faith will be restored. So hope everyone has learned a thing or two from this. This has been my presentation on sabotage and information security, and specifically website hacking and social media hacking.